everybody, Miss Allison here. We are going to do another art lesson today. This is number 8 in the series, and today we are going to be talking about the difference between realistic kind of drawing and turning a realistic drawing into something totally abstract. We're also going to be playing a bit of a game with it. So for today's lesson, you need some paper and a pencil or pen to draw with and something to color with. Markers, crayons, colored pencils. You can mix all those things together too if you want, okay? So go ahead and stop this video, hit pause, get your stuff together, and then come on back and we'll start working, okay? All right, so you've got your supplies together. Let's get going. For this exercise, I'm going to tell you to draw something that's a certain color. You can pick anything you want to as long as it's that color, and I want you to draw it, okay? So everybody's going to have a different piece of artwork at the end of this. Okay, the first thing I want you to draw is something blue. Think of something that you know of or you can imagine that is blue and draw that. And you've got, I want you to, whatever size your paper is, I want you to draw it a good size. So if this is my paper, the first thing I'm going to do is I drew a blue cube, okay? So you can kind of see how big it is on my paper. It's not super tiny. So draw your blue thing, hit pause if you need to, hit play again when you're ready. You can draw it and you can color it in, okay? So you're back now, and now I want you to draw something orange. And I want you, when you're drawing your items, to have them connect in some way. Do you see how I drew a ball, an orange ball, and do you see how it connects a little bit with the cube? So instead of having things all over the page, I want them to kind of be touching each other, okay? So that's the last sample I'm going to show you because I don't want to influence what you guys are drawing. So you've drawn something blue, you've drawn something orange, and you've colored it in. The next thing I want you to do is to draw something green. It can be anything, and you don't have to draw these things like the realistic shape. If you drew a car and now you're going to draw something green like a green bug, the bug doesn't have to be super tiny because of the size of the car. You can mix and match sizes, okay? So once you've got something green done and colored, then I want you to do something yellow. Again, hit pause if you need to, so you can draw the thing yellow and color it in. And then the last thing I want you to draw for items, I want you to draw something purple. Okay, go ahead and hit pause and restart when you're done with that. Now the next step, after you've got your drawing done, I want you, hold on a sec, I just have to arrange something. There we go. I want you to draw a wiggly line around what you drew, okay? You are going to have 5 things. I just have 2 right now, but this is just to show you what to do, okay? So now when you've got all your things, so let's say I'm going to draw a blob over here and a stick here and a circle down here, okay? So there's my 5 items. Now I want to draw a wiggly line that goes behind and around the items. So maybe I will start right here. I'm going to draw kind of a wiggly line. I'm going to go behind this and out here, and then I'm going to go behind this, and you pretend, you think about where would the line would be if you kept it on the paper. I'm going to go up here, and so you just go like that. So that's my first line, right? Now I want you to take and draw lines inside those, so it almost looks like you have ribbons. So the next line would be right here. Okay, I'm trying to make sure I'm catching all this on the screen. So my next line is like this. And because I drew this one so close, I'm going to draw another one out here. So I've got one a little bit bigger on the outside, but I still want my line to go behind some of my objects. Okay, so I want you to keep drawing these squiggly lines and make them go inside and keep repeating that pattern until you don't have any room left to draw. okay? So that'll be all filled in. Once you do that, I want you to color each of those ribbons in, either a different color or alternating colors. If you only have a couple colors at home, that's fine. So like you want to do maybe this one blue and this one green. So each one of these ribbons is going to be a different color, okay? So I am going to stop there, and then I'm going to show you an example of me drawing it, all right? So you guys keep working on that and color that, and I'm going to show you some examples now. Okay, so you guys drew 5 objects, one green, one blue, one orange, one yellow, and one purple, and then you did all your lines all the way around, right? So when you were done, everybody's is going to look totally different. This is what mine looked like. So here's my orange object, my blue object, my green object, my purple object, and my yellow object. And then I drew my lines, and do you see how they don't go across any of the other things? And if yours do, that's okay. This is just kind of what we were shooting for. You can redraw this image as many times as you want, and I would challenge you to come up with a different design every single time you do it. So this is where we're starting for the next part of this exercise. So these things I kind of drew in a cartoon way. They're like a loose sketch, so not super realistic. But when you look at them, you can tell this is a pencil, a flower, this is a made-up bug, and a butterfly, and this is an avocado. So you can kind of tell what they are, right? Now we are going to reproduce or redo this drawing, but we are going to do it only using squares, which is a fun way to turn a more realistic picture into an abstract picture. An abstract means that it does not look like the real thing because we have distorted things. So to do this next one, I'm going to keep this picture close by so I can see it. I am actually going to, excuse me a minute, I'm working with limited space here, so I'm going to tape this up so I can see it. You guys can kind of remember what it was. So now I'm going to use a pencil and I'm going to draw my shapes again. And in pencil, so my blue object was a pencil, right? So I'm doing that in pencil, and then I'm going to take either a marker or a darker crayon, and now I'm going to draw this, and I'm only going to use squares. I'm not going to have any curved lines. So if I was going to make this again only using squares and rectangles, I could break it down into really big things. Do a big rectangle. Now I've got this curve at the bottom. So to show that, I'm going to do these 3 little squares. And up here, I have a triangle for the point of my pencil. And so I'm going to draw that like this, using squares and rectangles. So now the next thing I'm going to do is my avocado. And the reason I'm doing it in pencil first, and I suggest you do too, is it makes it easier to create that shape then. So there's my big avocado piece, and now I'm going to fill that shape up with squares and rectangles again that kind of create this curve. Do you see how I'm doing that? All my squares and rectangles are going to fit as close as I can inside that curved shape. And depending on how you make your boxes, you can make this really interesting. And that's what doing abstract is all about, is turning a item that you would see in everyday life and recreating it with shapes that change the way you see the item. So now I've got my pencil done, I've got my avocado done. Now for the flower, and you can imagine that one is probably going to take a lot of time, and And it's going to be kind of intricate, which means like really detailed. But I still want to use some big squares. And to do this one, if you think of petals, how they grow out of the middle and then they grow this way. So I want to have my squares be shooting out from the center. So it still mimics a bit the direction of that flower. I'm gonna have one go way up here. And sometimes you can make the boxes overlap each other. All you want to make sure is that you have square edges. And now I'm doing the center piece. I'm going to go back over to this one. There, do you see how I'm coming up with this? And maybe over here, I want to put in some little boxes. And again, this one, even though I'm drawing squares and rectangles, they can move in different directions. They don't all have to be like this at right angles. Now I'm making them move different ways. And I'm going to break this one up even differently than I did these, because I want to see how many patterns I can make with my squares and my rectangles. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do each of my objects, and I will show you. I did this one already. And even if you look here, so this is the one I'd already done, right? Even between this drawing, I've got to keep turning it around. Even between this drawing, it's slightly different. Do you see how I chose to do a different square pattern on this avocado than I did on this one? And the flower looks a little different also, and where I placed it. So remember, this is what my first thing looked like. So there's my pencil. There's my pencil. See my green avocado? And here's one avocado I did, and this is a different one. So each time you do it, you get to make it up and make it look different. So we went from this drawing, which is my finished piece because I have it all colored in. And then from that, we're gonna make a second colored piece. But we did this one all with squares and rectangles. And now that I've got that done, sometimes when you do things with shapes like this, these shapes can get kind of confused with this one. So one thing that you can do, not only to define your shape, and this is of my flower petal, is you can make the outlines darker or thicker. And that tells your eye, oh, this is a separate shape than this one. And I can do that all along this flower, make those darker, or if I chose to, I could just do it where it crosses and meets another design. And the other thing that I haven't done with this is I have not done my curved wavy line like on this. And I think because all of these are straight edges, I really like the way it looks just like this. But I think it might look really interesting to add those curves. That's something you get to decide whether you're going to do that. As the artist, it's like you get to make up all the rules. It's the one place when you're creating artwork is where you have complete control, because you are the artist. You get to decide what you want it to look like. I really like this extra dark line, but maybe you're going to choose not to do that. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how I'm going to treat this. And then the last thing I want to show you in this video is some different suggestions for coloring this in. Now you could all color them in just a solid color, but if you want to take the time, let me get my coloring tools here, and you can see I don't have a ton. I have 2 of the bins from the club. I have a couple colored pencils, and I have some crayons, but not a whole set, and that's okay. So now I had my orange flower. So I'm gonna grab this one that has a little bit better tip on it, and I could have sharpened it, So if this is my flower, what if at the boxes at the center of each flower petal, so this is one flower petal right here, what if at the center I made it as dark as I could? And then what if each box that I did, I made it the orange just a little lighter, and I do that by using less and less pressure as I color. You know how when you do it dark, you have to really push down? So hard sometimes that I'm sure we've all broken crayons. I know I have. So I'm gonna mix this up. Some are gonna be darker, some are gonna be lighter, just to give some variety in what you see. So do you see that? How it's all orange, but it's all different shades of orange. And I can do that with each one of these flower petals. And I'm going to think about where these flower petals meet up with each other. So even though this is part of a different petal, it's touching this one. So that's why I chose, this one was lighter, so I chose to do this one darker. So this is a really fun drawing exercise that you can do. It really makes you look at things differently, which is a really important skill to have as an artist. Everything is about what you see and how you look at it and how you represent it. And this is a really fun way to create some different pieces of artwork, even if you're drawing the same thing over and over again. All right, so I'm gonna finish this up. I hope you guys finish up yours too. As always, I would love to see a photograph of it. All right, I hope you guys had fun working on this art project today. I look forward to teaching you guys another one next week. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Bye.